A breaking news update tonight. We are hearing new reaction from former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, who was pardoned tonight by President Donald Trump.
Our Jermont Terry just heard from Blagojevich outside his Ravenswood Manor home, and that's where he is live for us tonight. Jermont?
Joe and Erica, as it stands tonight, the former governor's conviction does not exist anymore. All the rights that he lost as a convicted felon fully restored thanks to the stroke of a pen by the president. It was just 5 years ago, February 2020, when former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich stood on his front steps of his home. He was released early from prison after then-President Trump commuted his corruption charges. Now Mr. Trump grants Blago a full pardon.
President Trump is a man who, when he sees things that are wrong, he rights them.
Blago says he's grateful to the president, and this gives him an opportunity to completely move forward.
They were fake charges, and the big lie was told by the prosecutor and his office that did to me and my family what they did. But it's over. President Trump saw what happened, and how interesting it is that when someone goes through something like we went through, and he's gone through what he's gone through, it creates a certain understanding between people.
The former governor served 8 years of a 14-year sentence. He was convicted of trying to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat after Obama won the White House in 2008. President Trump called his pardon an honor.
I've watched him. He was set up by a lot of bad people, some of the same people that I had to deal with. I think he's just a very fine person, and this shouldn't have happened, and it shouldn't have happened to him, and let him have a normal life.
And while Blago is excited and pleased with the pardon,
moving forward as we learn from the past, without bitterness, always remembering, I want to simply say that I'm determined to do whatever I can as a private citizen.
Other politicians from Illinois don't see it that way. Illinois Senate Republican leader John Curran says, "I strongly disagree with President Donald Trump's decision to pardon disgraced former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. Illinois taxpayers have and continue to be burdened with the cost of public corruption, and this pardon sends the wrong message." Longstanding Democrat U.S. Senator Dick Durbin writes, "In a state with more than its fair share of public corruption, the Blagojevich chapter still looms as one of the worst. America and Serbia deserves better." He references Serbia because Blagojevich has been talked about to be picked by the president to become the ambassador. When pressed about that,
no comment.
Now, the former governor says he first learned about his pardon 2 weeks ago while here at his house with his wife, Patty. He says that the president called him up and told him what would happen today. So he's had some time to process all of this. Reporting live outside the governor's house, the former governor's house in Ravenswood Manor, I'm Jermont Terry, CBS News Chicago.
Another chapter. Jermont, thanks very much.